अच्छा, who have not got the materials? हाँ, चित्रा and योगिता. Materials are already uploaded. ठीक है. Have you checked it? नहीं. चेक क्यों? अरे मेरा जैसे मूर्ख आदमी, I can see the materials and you all are computer engineers. Could not find unseal. Now she has got it. Vaishnavi has got it. Philosophy and sociology materials are not there. So besides that, you tell me any other material. Remaining are available. ठीक है. So how to go about it? You know, मैं बताता हूँ तुमको. कंप्यूटर से देख रहे हो कि इसमें मोबाइल से देख रहे हो? You are searching for it in the mobile or in the computer? See, actually, the problem is you are not able to locate it. Materials are uploaded and regularly materials are getting uploaded, and how to locate it. You go to study material part. He's doing it now. Just see it, don't primarily disturb them once again because materials are already there. He's showing it to now. Okay, so you just see it and get access to it immediately here and now. So now he has gone to material section. Okay. Materials, July. See, all these subjects are coming. You click at the top, sociology material will come. ऊपर टाइप कर दो. हेलो गौरव, ऊपर टाइप कर दो उस दिन जैसे दिखाया था. ये देखो, ऊपर टाइप कर दोगे सारे मटेरियल आ जाएगा. सोशियोलॉजी एंड हिस्ट्री, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी आ गया. हिस्ट्री आ गया. ये क्या सर आ रहा है? वो हिस्ट्री वाला पूरा आ गया है. सोशियोलॉजी एंड हिस्ट्री टाइप कर दो. सोशियोलॉजी, पॉलिटिकल साइंस. हाँ, सोशियोलॉजी ऑप्शनल आया हुआ. जुलाई सेक्शन में सारे डाल दिए. हाँ, जुलाई सेक्शन में सारे डाल दिए. देख लेना अभी, तुरंत देखो फिर बताओ. सब बैठे हैं इधर. दर्शंगी अभी चेकअप करो. Darsang, you check it up now. If you got it, very good. Anybody having problem, tell me now, because he's sitting here. The man in charge of this is sitting here. Got it? Chitra? Got it or not? चलो ठीक है. हाँ month wise you check it up. July, August, now September materials will come. But one thing you have 6 handouts. But one thing you remember, class notes will be much more exhaustive than the notes that I'm giving you. Don't fail to make consolidated notes from what is being discussed in the class. These will be all supplementary notes. You can do them at any point of time. But class note is very important. If you don't understand it, there'll be a problem. चलो मेरे को टेंशन कर दिया, बताया सर नहीं ये सारे पीडीएफ मेरे को मत बताओ, मैं तुझा को कंप्यूटर बहुत मेहनत करके आई एम जस्ट गेटिंग यूज्ड टू इट एंड यू आर सेइंग पीडीएफ खुल नहीं रहा है, ये नहीं हो रहा है. सो ऑल दिस टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम्स यू टॉक टू वजीराम. ठीक है. सोशियोलॉजी प्रॉब्लम है, यू टॉक टू मी. ऑल टेक्निकल अदर प्रॉब्लम्स दे विल हैंडल इट. So last unit of the chapter 1 will be discussing today. Then I'll be giving a question to write answer on. I'll be taking up your doubts. Okay. Everything is given except philosophy. अभी फोकस कर इसके ऊपर. So we'll be discussing now about the relationship between common sense and sociology. मैंने अपना ईमेल आईडी दिया तुमको कि नहीं दिया? I've given my email ID to you? नहीं? हाँ दे दो अभी. हाँ ठीक है, अभी दे देंगे. So we'll be discussing now about the interface between common sense and sociology. See, common sense is what? Common sense is a source of knowledge, source of information, primarily based upon assumptions and presumptions. ठीक है? On the basis of assumption or presumption, common sense knowledge develops. Okay? For example, you see clouds in the sky. So, assuming you can make a conclusion that it will be raining today. Okay? Suppose you find out in front of you a man is coming, fully bearded, putting on torn clothes, singing a song aloud. So you use your common sense to say that this person is mad or he is drunk. Yes or no? Therefore, common sense knowledge is based upon what? Assumption, presumption, and common sense knowledge is based upon preconceived ideas. What is preconceived idea? In past, you have seen somebody drunk, standing like this, putting on clothes like this. So therefore you are assuming that all the people, those who are dressing like this, speaking like this, so they must be primarily drunkards. Understanding not? So common sense knowledge is always based upon what? Assumption, presumption, on preconceived notions and prejudices. Prejudices मतलब क्या है? हाँ, blacks will be aggressive. So you think in this way. Tribes will be aggressive. So therefore your perception is greatly based upon what? Your preconceived knowledge or your thinking. So that is known as common sense. And common sense knowledge is not based upon facts. Common sense knowledge are greatly based upon what? Your perception. So your perception gives you knowledge, and on the basis of that knowledge, you try to see the reality, and that is how common sense is explaining reality. Okay? Common sense is your own perception, own thinking. Driven by your own perception, you look at reality. Okay? Suppose I'm giving you an example. Chitra, when you come to Delhi to attend your physical class, if that happens ever, so you will be carrying some impression about Delhi. Women are not safe in Delhi. Delhi food is very bad. Delhi landlord is not also good. So carrying these preconceived ideas, you are primarily locating yourself at a given place. Okay? Which may be true, which may not be true. Okay? And your faith in that common sense knowledge, तो कुछ बोलो ध्यान से सुनो. Your belief in that common sense knowledge, it's so strong that you don't want somebody to question to your common sense knowledge. Therefore, common sense knowledge is not something coming from your mind. Many times, common sense knowledge is also inherited from your culture. Okay? So, when that common sense knowledge is inherited from your culture and you share it, accept it, that knowledge, if somebody is questioning to, rejecting to, challenging to, you will become intolerant to it. Understanding not? And you will be seeing the reality with regard to that common sense knowledge through the lens of that common sense knowledge. Example देके बताता हूँ, to be easier to you. When I was small, my grandfather told me that in front of my house there is a banyan tree, ancestral house. And when I was small, I used to move around. So he told me, there is a ghost living in the banyan tree, you don't go there. So therefore, he just primarily gave his common sense to me, so that the child will not be going out of home. But I took that as real. And never ever during my formative years of life, I ever came close to that particular banyan tree after evening. Even till today, when I'm passing through that road, I make it sure that somebody is there with me. Understanding or not? So therefore, common sense knowledge is so greatly imprinted in your head. It's very difficult to get out of it. Understanding or not? Similarly, our faith in God is based upon what? Shared common sense. Understanding or not? So our faith in God is also a product of shared common sense. And once that is there in your head, it is cemented in your head, and anybody questioning to it, understand not, you become intolerant. Therefore, Ganga is a pure primary river. Ganga water is pure. So can anybody justify the purity of the water? Can you take that water to scientific laboratory to prove me that this is pure? No. But this is a shared cultural common sense. If anybody is questioning to that, we consider that he is non-believer. We criticize to him. ठीक है? समझ में आया? So common sense is a belief. Common sense is a perception. Common sense is an assumption. Common sense is based upon priori grounds. Common sense is prejudicial. But common sense, when inherited from culture, understand not, and you stay extremely committed to it. Anybody questioning to your common sense knowledge, you question to him, you question to his primary knowledge. So therefore, people develop intolerance to any critique of their common sense knowledge. आया समझ में? इसीलिए no less than a person like Einstein has said, by the time a person is attaining the age of 18, सेंटेंस को ध्यान से सुनो, by the time a person is attaining the age of 18, more than 80% of his beliefs are based upon common sense. By the time we become 18, so whatever we see around us, 80% of the primary things we explain by common sense. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? तो common sense has made a space in our thinking process, in our mind. Therefore, through the lens of common sense, we look at the world. समझ में? Yes or no? तो इसलिए भूत कहां रहता है? बैनियन ट्री में. भगवान कौन सा अवतार लेंगे? फीस अवतार लेंगे, मत्स्य अवतार लेंगे. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So everything that we see is primarily driven by what? Our common sense. First part of the discussion. In second part of the discussion, I'll be saying, when there was no science, using common sense, people were primarily explaining the world surrounding them. ठीक है? इसको थोड़ा सोशियोलॉजिकल लैंग्वेज में आइसिंग कर देंगे. The material from out of which scientific knowledge comes is the same material from out of which common sense knowledge develops. ठीक है? The material from out of which scientific knowledge comes is the same material from out of which common sense knowledge develops. Material का नाम क्या है? Mind. Therefore, mind is the mother of common sense knowledge. Mind is also the mother of scientific knowledge. ये दिमाग में आता है. Ghost is there in the banyan tree. And the same mind is asking the question, is there a ghost? If there is a ghost, I must see the ghost. तो टॉर्च लाइट लेके तुम जाते हो in primarily close to that banyan tree, focusing your light on side not into different branch of the tree and trying to see if ghost is there or not. If there, how ghost is looking like. If there, whether ghost is talking to or not, talking to me or not. If there is ghost is more powerful than me or not. That must be empirically validated. Therefore, mind from out of which common sense knowledge comes is the same mind from out of which scientific knowledge develops. तो इसीलिए मैंने बताया, material from out of which science comes is the same material from out of which common sense comes. Understanding or not? Be careful. Animal minds start with common sense and end with common sense. Human mind starts with common sense and never ends with common sense. Therefore, human beings develop civilization what animals cannot develop. ठीक है? Understanding or not? Human mind starts and ends up with common sense. ऐसे उल्टा हो गया. Animal mind starts and ends up with common sense. But human mind starts with common sense, never ends up with common sense. Therefore, human beings develop civilization what animals cannot. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So, look at the beauty of this statement. Human beings first explain the world surrounding them on the basis of common sense knowledge. Then their mind is again questioning to that common sense knowledge. ठीक है? Questioning that common sense knowledge, they explain the reality surrounding them through another kind of knowledge. Again, they question to that. New knowledge develops. Therefore, mind is subjected to progress. Mind is subjected to revision. एक एग्जाम्पल देके बोलता हूं. Primitive man considers that if you go for rain dance समझ में आ रहा है? अरे लगान मूवी देखे हो? लगान मूवी देखे हो? So when there is a drought, people are coming forward and they are going for a rain dance. In tribal societies, people paint their body in dark color because cloud is dark. Therefore, dark will be attracting dark and they vigorously dance. And if incidentally it rains, they will give credit to rain dance. Therefore, common sense knowledge has developed. Rain dance gives you rain. Okay? So this is common sense knowledge. There may be many occasions where people go for rain dance. Their body is primarily aching, lot of pain in the body dancing for hours together, but there is no sign of rain. So people will not be questioning to their common sense knowledge. Rather, they will say, there is some problem, there is some kind of what problem in the way they perform this dance. They'll be considering they have gone somewhere wrong. Again, they will be primarily repeating the same act. But their faith in rain dance will never ever be diluted. Okay? Then after primarily few centuries or years, their mind will develop. They'll say, no. So you cannot attribute rain to rain dance. Then mind will be thinking, there must be a God responsible for rain dance. इसको एक नाम देंगे. नाम क्या है? Indra. So God of rain is Indra. If you are going for Indra Puja, it will rain. So therefore, when there is no rain, they'll be worshipping to rain God, wasting a lot of primarily sweets, what could have been distributed among the students. Understand not? Thinking that rain God will be happy and there'll be rain. याद है कृष्णा उठाए गोवर्धन mountain? Because the people were primarily performing what? Indra Puja. Thinking that Indradev will be giving you rain. And Indradev didn't give rain. So then Krishna primarily said, what Indra can do? More we go for this Govardhan Puja, more we are reminding of the fact that Indra is the god of rain. But unka headmaster kaun hai? Krishna. Therefore, when the teacher is not primarily listening to headmaster, the head teacher is coming forward and telling, I will be teaching you a lesson. So therefore, Krishna primarily uphold that mountain to protect the life of the people, telling Indra, I have more power than you. Therefore, more and more you are going for this Indra Puja, Govardhan Puja. More we are thinking about the fact that rain god is responsible for rain. This thought continues for some period of time. Again, common sense. Then the great minds like you came one day. And they told me, no. Indradev never gives you rain. Rain dance never gives you rain. It is evaporation and condensation that gives you rain. This is science. So magic explained rain in terms of rain dance. Religion explains rain on the basis of primarily what? Indradev. Science explains rain on the basis of what? Evaporation and condensation. Understanding or not? And science went by facts. Science went by experimentation. Science proved same result time and again. Science says, only after summer rain will come. After rain, summer doesn't come. Because summer is responsible for what? Evaporation. Then takes condensation, then there is rain. So unless there is evaporation, you cannot get rain. फिर तुमने बोला, it's because of climate change, so you don't get rain in time. You do not get sufficient rain. Scientific explanation. So what I am telling you here is that mind gives scientific explanation to rain. Also that mind, when science was not present, was giving common sensual knowledge about rain. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Cloud in the sky, dark paint in the body. So dark is attracting primarily dark. Rain dance gives you rain. क्या logic? Understanding or not? When people suffer from jaundice, common sense knowledge. Jaundice पता है? Hepatitis. Eyes are becoming primarily what? Yellow. Skin is becoming yellow. So people find out a technique that donate wheat to the poor. Pilia. Donate wheat to the poor. one can recover from jaundice. Wheat is what? Yellow in color. Jaundice is what? Yellow in color. If you donate something yellow, then obviously yellow disease will run away. Common sense knowledge. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Then science came and said, this is a different kind of disease altogether. We have a vaccine available. Take this vaccine, stay secured, and also don't donate wheat. Keep wheat for yourself. So therefore, be careful. Common sense knowledge is based upon what? Assumption, presumption. It is based upon what? बोलते जाओ. Priori knowledge, understand not? And in many occasions, when our common sense knowledge is questioned, we don't happily accept it. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? आगे बढ़ो. इसीलिए 80% of our mind is greatly primarily composed of which knowledge? Common sense knowledge. By the time we are attaining the age of 18. Only कितना जगह खाली है? 20% जगह खाली है to accept and absorb scientific knowledge. 80% पूरा ऑक्युपाई करके रखा है कौन सा नॉलेज? कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज. ठीक है? And some of this common sense knowledge are unique to us. Other common sense knowledge we are inheriting from our culture, inheriting from our community. ठीक है? आगे सुनो. Common sense knowledge was greatly glorified during which period? पढ़ा था इसलिए पूछ रहा हूं. When was the mind of man? Very good. So mind of man was greatly driven by common sense knowledge during dark age of European history. बताया था? Mind was driven by assumption, presumption, myths, superstitions, and so on. ध्यान से सुना, उसमें बता रहा हूं सारी चीज. So therefore, people were explaining truth during dark age on the basis of what? Common sense. ठीक है? With the arrival of science, common sense knowledge was questioned. ठीक है? Common sense knowledge used to say that sun is moving around the earth. Because you see every day, sun is rising from east, setting in west. It's a regular phenomena. You saw it, then you arrived at the conclusion. Sun is moving around the earth. Okay. Also driven by your common sense knowledge, you primarily concluded that life and death are determined by whom? The will of God. Birth and death are primarily determined by the will of God. Applying our common sense. Because we didn't have knowledge about how people are born. We don't know why people die and after death what happens. So therefore we concluded, applying common sense knowledge, that life and death are the making of whom? God. Also using this common sense knowledge, we concluded that this earth is a divine creation. Because the earth को हमने नहीं बनाया, दादा ने हमारा नहीं बनाया. And I spoke to my grandfather, he told that his grandfather has not made this earth. तो इसलिए कौन बनाया? भगवान ने बनाया. So therefore these kind of knowledge are based upon priori ground. We have heard about it, we believe in that, we pass it down to next generation. Okay? With the arrival of science, science developed certain kind of argument through experimentation, scientific research, that life and death are natural process. Okay? Sexual relationship between a man and woman is primarily giving rise to fertilization, and a child is born out of that. And in human body, different systems are operative. Digestive system, circulatory system, nervous system, they all are interconnected. If a given part of the body is not effectively working, then people suffer from disease. There can be lungs disease, there can be heart disease, there can be kidney issues. So when these problems are affecting to our bodily parts, understand not? People are diseased, and disease is the cause of death. Therefore, scientific explanation of life and death. When people are primarily aging, so these parts of our body, they stop primarily functioning or they become primarily less functional. Therefore, problems occur. Medical intervention is required. Otherwise, people are going to die. And we went for thousands or hundreds of primarily scientific investigation to see what is the cause behind which kind of disease. Scientific diagnosis is taking place. Robotic diagnosis is taking place. And on the basis of that, we are primarily finding out the cause of the disease, what is cure to it, and why are people dying. Okay? Also, you find out interestingly, scientists advocated that the earth is a celestial body. You have water, you have temperature. So in this earth, you find out the embodiments of nature are present. Okay? So earth is a celestial body which is subjected to scientific scrutiny. Therefore, with the arrival of science, we got to know about life and death. We got to know about essential ingredients of this particular earth in a logical, fact-based, scientific way. Understanding or not? So therefore, our knowledge based upon common sense is now replaced by our knowledge based upon what? Science, facts, logic. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, mind explaining the truth on the basis of common sense, once influenced by science, scientific logic, scientific experimentation, is explaining the truth in a different way altogether. मैं क्यों बता रहा हूं इसका कारण सुनो. 19th century was the century of science. Because from 1750 to 1850, science has produced technology. And technology brought revolution in the life of man. Steam engine you look into, electricity you look into. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Galileo Copernicus theory you look into. So science produced varieties of technology. And using this machine technology, understand not, we went for mass production. There was a revolution in the field of transportation and communication. Understanding not? So therefore life became much more easier, much more better because of the use of science and technology. Understanding or not? So 19th century was the century of what? Science. And when science is bringing revolution in the life of man, progress in the life of man, mass production, quality health, better transportation, communication, understand not? So any discipline evolving in 19th century, any discipline evolving in 19th century wants to proclaim itself as what? Science. And sociology is no exception to it. Because sociology is the child of 19th century Europe. 1838 mein sociology came into prominence. Therefore, early sociologists considered sociology as what? A science. And sociology, if a science, science has no place for common sense. Therefore, early sociologists, understand not, who proclaim sociology as a science, they call themselves as what? Positivist. ठीक है? Positivist क्या बोले? that society can be studied from scientific perspective. Poverty you are studying, don't say poverty is primarily curse of God. When you study poverty, collect data on poverty. Who are poor, why they are poor, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, whether skills available to them or not, ये सारे डाटा कलेक्शन करके you speak about poverty. Don't say poverty is a curse of divinity or a curse of God, or poverty is a product of your misdeeds in previous life. ये acceptable नहीं है. People are poor because they are skillless. People are poor because they are landless. People are poor because they are not employed. People are poor because family size is large. Understanding not? So identify the factors, authentic empirical factors, and through that explain poverty. Therefore, positivism is advocating sociology is a science. Science should go by facts. Therefore, everything, every social reality must be primarily studied by facts, not by assumption, not by presumption, not by supposition, not by people's primarily cultural, religious thinking. आया समझ में? Therefore, common sense is a sociological nonsense. Understanding or not? Common sense has no place in sociology. कौन बात करता है? बोलो, who say common sense has no place in sociology? Positivist. Positivist consider sociology as what? Positivist consider sociology as a science. Therefore, when you study family, collect empirical data on family. When you study poverty, collect empirical data on poverty. When you study crime, collect data. Who are criminals? How long and what kind of criminals they are? Whether crime is detected or not, whether they are punished or not, after punishment if they are still committing crime or not, ये सारी चीज तुम स्टडी करोगे. Whether crime committed by women more or men more. So everything you should be studying in an authentic manner by collecting what? Empirical evidence. Therefore, anything that sociology studies should be based upon what? Empirically verifiable facts. ठीक है? समझ में आया? बताओ मेरे को तुम. Your understanding of family is what? Your understanding of family, your understanding of caste, your understanding of religion, your understanding of Ram Setu will be all driven by what? Common sense. When somebody conducting research on them, going by evidence and explaining that is what? Sociology. So therefore, positivist advocates that common sense has no place in sociology. क्यों? Common sense is based upon what? Assumption, presumption, myth, suppositions, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And prejudices. Sociological analysis is based upon what? Facts, empirical facts whose authenticity are primarily tested, verified, and established. Since sociology goes for factual explanation of reality, common sense is based upon assumption. Common sense and sociology go in parallel direction. Therefore, common sense has no place in sociology. Hence, common sense is sociological nonsense. आया समझ में? क्वेश्चन आ सकता है इसके ऊपर. कॉमन सेंस इज सोशियोलॉजिकल नॉनसेंस. एक्सप्लेन. पूरा पॉजिटिविस्ट व्यू को लिख लोगे. ठीक है? बट इज कॉमन सेंस सोशियोलॉजिकल नॉनसेंस? बोलो. इज कॉमन सेंस सोशियोलॉजिकल नॉनसेंस? मैं 3 आर्ग्यूमेंट डेवलप करूंगा एंड अल्टीमेटली आई विल बी टेकिंग योर ओपिनियन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. सी, this position of the positivist that common sense has no place in sociology, assumption has no place in sociology, is not holding merit for a group of sociologists. ठीक है? Specifically, cultural anthropologists or the sociologists who give importance on culture study, like Max Weber. पढ़ा था Max Weber? 2-3 बार पढ़ाया हूं. So Max Weber and many cultural anthropologists, they say, without respecting to common sense, that is the culture, product of the culture of the people, without respecting to common sense, which is the product of the culture of the people, we cannot do justice to sociology. Therefore, common sense can never be sociological nonsense. ठीक है? कौन बोला? Cultural anthropologist and sociologist like Max Weber. They say common sense is the property of the culture where people live. Common sense is a product of people's culture. So therefore, if we abandon common sense outrightly, we cannot do justice to sociological research. Okay? So therefore, common sense must be respected because it is not my common sense. It is people's common sense, which is a product of their culture and it is a guide to their life. So common sense is a product of the culture which is guiding to people's life, and sociology cannot study people in isolation to their culture. Therefore, respect to people's culture, respect to the product of their culture, that is common sense. Therefore, common sense may not be scientific, that is different. But how common sense is guiding, regulating the behavior of the people, that we must study. Therefore, respecting to the common sense of the people, we must have to understand their behavior, and that is what is the demand of sociology. Therefore, sociology cannot be rejecting common sense outrightly. And if you reject common sense, your sociology will be a mechanistic sociology. It will not be a truist sociology. ये मैकेनिकल सोशियोलॉजी है, ट्रू सोशियोलॉजी नहीं है. कैसे तुमको बता? ध्यान से सुनो. कल मालिनोस्की का नाम लिखा था, याद है? कल्चरल एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट. Malinowski studies Australian tribe. ठीक है? He studies a tribe in Australia जिनका नाम है ट्रूबियंडर्स. He studies ट्रूबियंडर्स of Australia. ठीक है? He finds out that this tribe regularly go for fishing expedition. मछली पकड़ने के लिए जाते हैं. They go to catch the fish to deep sea. ठीक है? And when they go for fishing expedition, they perform rituals. Ritual perform करते हैं to please the spirit present in the sea. Common sense क्या बोलता है? There is a spirit present in the belly of the sea. Unless you perform rituals to make the spirit happy, that spirit will be drowning the boat. That spirit will be causing primarily what? Storm in the middle of the sea. People will be losing their life. ठीक है? Common sense knowledge क्या बोला? Number one, there is a spirit living in the sea, and that spirit has power to primarily cause storms. Unless you please that spirit, pacify that spirit, there will be storm in the primarily sea, and people will die. Those who have gone for fishing expedition. ठीक है? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? Common sense knowledge. And after performing this ritual, understand not, they primarily select good, experienced people who know the art of swimming. They select people for fishing expedition, those who can sail the boat, repair the boat. So interesting बात सुनो. When they're selecting the people, and most of the people are selected who are good swimmers, those who can sail the boat, they can repair the boat. These kind of people are selected. Okay? Then they go for fishing expedition and happily coming back after catching fish. Sometimes there is storm, but since good swimmers and sailors are there, they don't lose their life much. And fishing expedition is becoming a success story in the life of the Trobrianders. Okay? Look at this thing. If people know that they have good swimmers in their team, if people know that there are good salesmen in primarily what? Sailors in their team, then why they are performing ritual? बोलो, रिचुअल क्यों परफॉर्म करते हैं? Yes, they perform ritual because it is boosting their self-confidence. So when they are going for fishing expedition, carrying this common sense knowledge, they are made sure, since they have performed primarily ritual, spirit is happy, nothing wrong is going to happen to them. Even if there is a cyclonic storm, they can withstand to it, save their life, and come back to the shore. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, common sense is not opposite to your scientific or empirical or effective testing of the people who will be part of fishing expedition. So therefore, common sense supplement to your rational selection of people. Common sense gives you self-confidence. Common sense gives you belief. Common sense gives you direction. So therefore, respecting to people's common sense, understand their behavior. It's a better sociology. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? तो common sense give them self-confidence. Nothing will happen now. Nothing wrong will be happening to them. They are booming with self-confidence. Understanding or not? So therefore, what we should do? We should respect to their common sense, or we should be saying common sense is what? Unscientific. It is not based upon facts. Therefore, common sense has no place in sociology. So respecting to their common sense, I would say that though people know the art of swimming, though they can sail through primarily what? Cyclonic storms, but people, after performing these rituals, they are boosting with self-confidence. They're able to focus on their work. They're gathering strength to withstand to difficult situations. And happily, they can return back to primarily what? Soul, the seashore. So therefore, common sense is primarily having a strength-giving character. Common sense is primarily restoring people's belief in their own power. Therefore, functional role of common sense we should be understanding while talking about a community and their culture. Understanding or not? और एक चीज देखो, example दे रहा हूं. There is a tribe which is in Africa. That is known as Newer tribe. Evans Pritchard is studying it. अफ्रीका में एक ट्राइब है, इसका नाम है न्यूअर, NUER. ठीक है? Newer believe that there are present two kinds of spirits. Spirit means God for them. Newer believe that there are two kinds of spirit. One spirit is living above, आसमान पे रहता है. And second spirit is living below. ये कौन सा नॉलेज? कौन सा नॉलेज है? अरे बोलो. कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज. एक स्पिरिट ऊपर रहता है, दूसरा स्पिरिट कहां रहता है? नीचे रहता है. And they believe that spirit above is greatly responsible for everything coming from the sky. If there is rain, if there is cyclone, if there is storm, if there is primarily what? Lightning. So lightning is there, rain is there, thunderstorm is there. Everything comes out of the sky. Therefore, they exhibit the power of the spirit of above. Lightning is not lightning. Through lightning, spirit above is exhibiting his power. देख मेरा कितना power है. ठीक है. Rain also exhibits the power of whom? Spirit of above. Understanding that? Therefore, what they do you know? To please the spirit of above, they are pastoral people. Pastoral means what? They are cattle herders. So therefore, since they are pastoral people, their best possible wealth is what? Pastoral के लिए best possible wealth is what? Pastoral cattle. Therefore, once in a year, they sacrifice a cattle. To please whom? Spirit above. ठीक है? Spirit above is greatly powerful. So therefore, once in a year, we should be thankful to him. Therefore, they sacrifice a cattle. ठीक है? And be careful. When they are sacrificing a cattle, there's a ritual performed. They perform a big ritual, cattle ceremony, sacrifice ceremony. And in that sacrifice, look at this mindset of the people. In that sacrifice ceremony, they say that blood of the cattle belong to the spirit. But the flesh of the cattle is meant for human consumption. Therefore, when this ceremony takes place, they make all big arrangements for a community feast. And in this community feast, they are singing together, dancing together, forgetting interpersonal differences, and promote a sense of unity and solidarity. और जब फेस्टिवल होता है, अभी आ रहा है, दशहरा पूजा आ रहा है. When there is a festival, you forget interpersonal differences. You come close to each other. Common mood, common motivation, common dance. So you feel so elevated, you feel so happy. So therefore, cattle ceremony or ritual ceremony is bringing people together or not? हाँ, बुरा ना माना तो है, होली है, बता रहा है. So therefore, once you are coming together through a ritual, बताओ मेरे को, do you need Menka Gandhi there? अरे मेनका गांधी को समझ में आ रहा है? Menka Gandhi will say that life of an animal is quite precious. Do you need probably Yogi Sahab there? They will say, no, गाय हमारा माता है. अरे तुम्हारा माता तुम्हारा घर में माता है. तुम्हारा animal right तुम्हारा घर में है. But you are using cattle or the flesh of the cattle to have a communal feast. And communal feast is promoting social solidarity among them. So नाम का cattle is sacrifice for God. काम का सारे बैठ के इकट्ठा cattle का flesh खा रहे हैं. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? एंड झूम झूम के दारू पी रहे हैं, कैटल का फ्लेश खा रहे हैं, एंड इकट्ठा होके दे आर प्रमोटिंग सॉलिडारिटी. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? Yes or no? Therefore, their common sense knowledge, if I understand, then I can understand how that sacrifice ceremony is promoting unity among the people. Therefore, common sense may sound as nonsense, but common sense has many sociological merit to explore. Understand not? That we must have to go for. Understanding or not? So don't say, how can spirit be there in the above? How can spirit be there in below? These stupid people are sacrificing an animal, so which is not primarily acceptable. That is not the way of doing sociology. Rather, there is a different way of doing sociology. What is that? People's culture giving them a shared consciousness. That spirit of the above must be given offerings once in a year. So following their common sense, when they make this offering, that offering is having a consequence. Eating together, dancing together, sharing emotion with each other is promoting unity and solidarity among the people. Therefore, how common sense guides a ritual, and ritual is having a social outcome that I can study. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Common sense is prescribing a ritual for the people, and when they perform that ritual, there is a social consequence, social unity, social solidarity, conflict is resolved. So all these things I can see. Therefore, respecting to that, be careful, दो चीज इधर है. Their common sense is good or bad. Who am I to give comment? Their common sense is their common sense. How their common sense is a guide to their life, I should be explaining that. Therefore, every culture, every community do have their shared common sense. And that shared common sense do have a series of social outcomes, social functions. I should make a list of it. Therefore, I should not be making value judgment. समझ में आ रहा है? I should not be looking at their common sense from my standpoint. Every group of people, they have their own values, they have their own culture, they have their own common sense. And using that common sense, they regulate their everyday life. And I must have to respect to that, to know more about the people. Therefore, common sense can never be a sociological nonsense. Shared common sense is a treasure for sociology to know, understand, explain a community better. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? और थोड़ा सा बताता हूं. In your society, people believe there is a spirit present below. नीचे भी एक spirit है, लेकिन the spirit below is छोटू spirit. Spirit below is small spirit. And when you are sneezing, suffering from cold, seasonal cold, corona purna bada dangerous hai. When one is suffering from seasonal cold, when somebody has having minor injuries, cattle is sick, for these small problems, he is primarily offering ritual, evoking whom? Spirit of below. And what is offering to spirit below? Spirit above के लिए तो cattle है. It's a community festival. But spirit below के लिए क्या is primarily offering? For spirit below, he is offering cucumber. Laddu. Offering what? Cucumber. खीरा. Offering खीरा. But भगवान को बेवकूफ बनाता है. What he tells spirit, you know? My dear spirit, I am a very poor man. I don't have much to offer to you. Treat cucumber as ox. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Oh my God, I am a poor man. I don't have much to offer. You are so powerful. You know everything. So treat this cucumber as ox. इसको कैटल समझ के खा ले. किसको बोलता है? भगवान को बोलता है. बोलो. So man is primarily telling God, cucumber is ox, and sacrificing cucumber. बताओ मेरे को. When he is offering cucumber to spirit, is anybody coming to eat cucumber? No. Therefore, there are two kinds of ritual. One ritual you are performing in personal level, another ritual you are performing in collective level. And what collective ritual can do, that personal ritual cannot. Collective ritual is bringing bonding, togetherness, solidarity, sense of unity. And personal ritual cannot do that. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, how common sense of the people tell personal problem, this is ritual. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Then primarily periodic ritual that is having another kind of God to please to. Therefore, their life is driven by their common sense knowledge. You cannot understand their life without understanding what? Their cultural common sense. Therefore, understand the culture of the people. Culture is guiding common sense. Common sense is primarily regulating their everyday life. Therefore, without understanding their culture, without understanding their common sense knowledge, you cannot understand other cultures. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? और एक एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूं, देखो. ये महाकुंभ क्या है? सिंपल क्यों? तुम्हारा सोसाइटी की बात करता हूं. महाकुंभ सोशियोलॉजी ऑफ महाकुंभ, अभी दर्शना बोलेगी, बोलो व्हाट इज सोशियोलॉजी ऑफ महाकुंभ, बोलो महाकुंभ का सोशियोलॉजी क्या है? अरे तुम परेशान क्यों हो रहे हो, बताओ बताओ सोशियोलॉजी क्या है इसका? आवर कल्चर टेल्स that all sins that we have committed will be wiped out if we are taking holy bath during Kumbh Mela. ये कॉमन सेंस है कि नहीं है? Understanding or not? So driven by this common sense, people go to join Kumbh Mela to purify the sin. इसका मैं सोशियोलॉजी देखता हूं. A man committing sin refuses as one who is committing sin. But the moment he is going to Kumbh Mela, he is accepting that he has committed sin and going for a holy bath. And when he is coming out of Kumbh Mela, his soul is primarily becoming pure. And next time when he is committing a sin, he should be conscious about it. पता नहीं 12 साल का बाद कुंभ आएगा, फिर जितना पाप करूंगा, whether I can wipe it out or not. He'll be more disciplined. His behavior will be more moral and ethical. Understanding or not? So therefore, how cultural common sense is primarily shared by the people regulating their behavior. और देखो कल्चरल कॉमन सेंस क्या करता है. हिंदू कल्चरल कॉमन सेंस टेल्स that God always tests the character of man. God is regularly testing the character of man. Therefore, God can come to you in any form. Look at the beauty of this, how this cultural common sense is primarily making your society possible. God can come to you in any form. Therefore, as a beggar, God can be standing in front of your house, asking for alms. So he will be extremely hungry. Therefore, if you are giving him alms, you are obtaining punya. So because cultural common sense tells that giving alms to poor, you are getting primarily what? Merit, religious merit. So in Hindu society, you primarily see that people don't drive out a beggar. Therefore, beggary is not evolving as a problem. Beggary is becoming a kind of profession in India. Therefore, go and see in front of temples, beggars are standing in the line. And happily they are asking for alms because you think that in them there may be present incarnation of God. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, you will be finding out interestingly, in the railway station, a man is hanging harmonium onto his neck and singing a devotional song and primarily asking you for primarily what 10 rupees note. भगवान का नाम पे 10 रुपया दे दे, 1 रुपया कोई नहीं मांगता. And you also happily give him. That is becoming a profession for him. शाम को जाता है 2000 रुपया पॉकेट में है. Why it is so possible, बताओ? Why people are making a living from out of begging and primarily making big money from begging? Because we are a culture where it is considered that begging in the name of God is primarily a moral act. If you give alms to a beggar, you are also primarily getting ritual merit. So therefore, when I'm studying beggary in India and beggary in America, so here people's consciousness is different from their people's consciousness. They give alms to a beggar as a matter of charity. We give alms to a beggar thinking that it's a religious ritual merit. Therefore, their perception of beggary is different from our perception of beggary. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, I cannot understand beggary in India, ignoring to cultural common sense of the people. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? और सबसे बढ़िया चीज देखो, beggars are begging in front of you. You are a beggar in primarily the court of God. जाके मांगते हो, भगवान सबको लिफ्ट करवा दिया, मेरे को भी लिफ्ट कर दो. वो गाना भी बड़ा चलता है, औदनाम स्वामी का जो गाना है, इसको लिफ्ट कर दिया, इसको लिफ्ट कर दिया, मेरे को भी लिफ्ट करवा दे. Therefore, they are begging in front of you, you are begging in front of God. So therefore, combinedly together, we make a begging society. And our conscience collective never primarily stands opposite to it. So a society where begging is a virtue, begging is a matter of right, there you can study beggary only by interpreting the culture of the people. समझ में आ रहा है? कोई वोट का भिक्षा मांगता है. Somebody is begging votes from you. Somebody is begging primarily what? Somebody is begging what? Kindness from you, your God. And a beggar is asking for sustenance from you. Therefore, wherever you go, you found out people are primarily begging around. So therefore, to understand beggary in the context of India, I need to interpret culture and common sense in India. समझ में आया? So bottom line क्या हुआ? Bottom line क्या हुआ? Common sense is a product of culture. Using that cultural common sense, people manifest different kind of behavior. Therefore, it is the duty of a sociologist to understand the culture of the people where from common sense comes, to understand their culture in much more effective and efficient manner. Therefore, common sense can never be a sociological nonsense. आया समझ में? एक सेंटेंस बोलता हूं, ध्यान से सुनो. Max Weber tells that people manifest their action. People manifest their action driven by their cultural prescription. People manifest their action driven by their cultural prescription. Okay? And be careful. And culture gives common sense knowledge. Common sense knowledge क्या है? बोलते जाओ. Common sense knowledge क्या है? बोलो. Common sense 5 बताओ. Common sense knowledge क्या है? Krishna lifted in primarily in his little finger the mountain. Therefore, Govardhan Puja. Therefore, if I am studying Indian society, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So I have to understand the significance of which puja? Govardhan Puja. Govardhan Puja is primarily remembrance of how a small child can lift the entire mountain and give a lesson to whom? Teach a lesson to Lord Indra. Common sense knowledge. And to remember that common sense knowledge, we primarily go for ritual performance even today. Understanding or not? और कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज क्या है? बहुत सारे कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज दे रहे हैं. और कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज क्या है? इंडियन सोसाइटी का बताओ, कनेक्ट के बताओ. इंडियन सोसाइटी में हाउ कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज इज प्राइमरली ट्रांसमिटिंग फ्रॉम वन जनरेशन टू अनदर जनरेशन. बोलो बोलो बोलो. हाँ, वेरी गुड. Goddess Lakshmi will be kind to you if you are primarily performing puja on Diwali day. Therefore, everybody is sharing this common sense and going for that kind of puja. So therefore, to understand Indian society, very good. So you cannot put black clothes on a particular auspicious day. Common sense knowledge. So therefore, these common sense knowledge are guiding to behavior of the people or not. So your dress code is defined by your common sense knowledge. Your food code is defined by your common sense knowledge. मंडे है, शिव जी का है, इसमें नॉनवेज नहीं खाना है. बेलपत्ता शिव जी के लिए अप्रोप्रिएट है, बेल का पेड़ नहीं काटना है. तुलसी में मैया रहता है, तुलसी का पेड़ घर का सामने लगाना है. कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज. So using this common sense knowledge, you regulate your food, regulate your dress, define your relationship, identify what is pure. Therefore, without respecting to your common sense, I cannot make sociology. I cannot understand your culture in the best possible manner. इसलिए वेबर बोलता है, सिद्धांत से सुना, आगे पढ़ाऊंगा फिर. वेबर फिर आगे बोलता है, क्या बोलता है? Every culture is primarily best for the people who are practicing it. Your culture is best to you. newer culture is best to them. Australian tribes culture is best to them. Every culture is best in its own location. So therefore, sociologists, by respecting to their culture, must be studying that community. इसको बोलते हैं cultural relativism. Every culture is good at its place, and that culture is a guide to people's behavior. Our common sense is coming out of culture. So therefore, to understand people's behavior guided by common sense, I must have to interpret their culture. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? इसलिए ध्यान से सुनो. सिंदूर is a product of cultural common sense. रक्षाबंधन is a product of cultural common sense. Visiting primary Char Dham Yatra is a product of cultural common sense. Respect for grandfather is a product of cultural common sense. Sacredness of Tulsi is a product of cultural common sense. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? If I don't study it, I cannot make sense of India. Understanding not? Therefore, to understand Indian society, I must have to interpret Indian culture, and how from that culture, cultural common sense comes that guides people's behavior. Therefore, don't say common sense is sociological nonsense. Rather say people's common sense is a treasure for sociology. आया समझ में? मार्क्स वेबर, मालिनोस्की, ये सारे बोलेंगे. तो एक चीज ध्यान में रखना. Weber considers common sense is a shared culture. Common sense is a shared culture that regulates people's behavior. We should understand that through interpretation. Therefore, respecting to shared cultural common sense, we can make a better sociology. Therefore, Weber is rejecting to positivistic theory and looking into the significance of common sense in sociology. ठीक है? दो नाम मेरा दिमाग में आता है अभी. They're contemporary sociologists. One is Gramsci, Antonio Gramsci. ग्रामसी बोलता है कॉमन सेंस is the philosophy of non-philosophers. ये आज का डेट में रिलीवेंट है, इसलिए स्टेटमेंट तुमको दे रहा हूं. कॉमन सेंस इज द फिलोसफी ऑफ नॉन फिलोसोफर्स. तुम सारे कौन हो? तुम कौन हो? इमानुएल कैंट, रूसो, सारे इंजीनियर बैठे हैं. आदित्य मान ली कि हम सारे इंजीनियर हैं. कॉमन मेन एंड कॉमन वुमेन means people like us. We are non-philosophers. And common sense is our philosophy. ठीक है? Common sense is our philosophy. Therefore, common sense is the philosophy of non-philosopher. Using common sense, we consider that a man is our savior, protector, pathfinder, illuminator of life. क्या है? Using our common sense knowledge, we consider a person is who? बोलते जाओ. Our friend, our philosopher, our guide, our protector, our promoter, our primarily torch bearer, savior. The movement using common sense knowledge, we consider he is everything to us. We start worshipping to him. And ultimately that person becomes Adolf Hitler. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So personality cult develops from out of this. Because non-philosophers using their common sense make a zero into a hero. बताओ, सदगुरु कौन थे? Ordinary man. But the philosophy of the commoners, non-philosophers, made him a great man. And you see in Shiv Chaturdasi, or primarily, the way he works, the way light arrangement is done. People from different parts of the world, they are coming to see his magic, his miracles. वही काम हम आसाराम जी का साथ भी किए थे. आसाराम जी, आसाराम का नाम सुने हो? जेल में है अभी. पंजाब में एक आदमी है, उन्हीं का साथ भी ये किए थे. फिलोसफी ऑफ प्राइमल राम रोहित, और एक है वहां पे बाबा. सो इसीलिए कॉमन सेंस इज द फिलोसफी ऑफ नॉन फिलोसफर्स. Therefore, using our common sense, we find out who such a great man, genius, having all characteristics. And all of a sudden, we start worshipping to a man. And that man ordinary becomes man extraordinary. That is how you have Stalin. That is how you have Mao. That is how you have Adolf Hitler. Authoritarian personalities are the product of non-philosophers using their common sense, making a zero into a hero, converting a zero into a hero. समझ में रहा है? आगे कुछ नहीं बोलना है. ये है कॉमन सेंस का पावर. ठीक है. और एक महान आदमी है, बोरदियो साहब हैं. ये बोलते हैं कॉमन सेंस इज डोक्सा. कॉमन सेंस इज डोक्सा. डोक्सा इज व्हाट? गूगल करो डोक्सा क्या है. कॉमन सेंस इज डोक्सा. थिंग्स एविडेंट. ठीक है. कॉमन सेंस थिंग्स एविडेंट. यू कैनॉट लिव विथ इट. So using common sense knowledge, you consider अरे स्टेट अपना काम करेगा, प्रीस्ट अपना काम करेगा. So therefore, most of the things we explain surrounding ourselves driven by common sense. Father will look after us. Mother will cook food. Brother will drop me. ये सारे क्या है? Taking things for granted, डोक्सा. एविडेंट. सिमिलरली प्राइम मिनिस्टर सोचते हैं, हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर जनरल बोल रहा हूं. सो द प्राइम मिनिस्टर सोचता है अरे पीपुल हैव वोटेड मी फॉर 5 years 4 years. आफ्टर 4 years देखेंगे जो होगा. कॉमन सेंस. 4 साल तो कोई हिला नहीं सकता है मेरे को. कहां 4 कहां 5. कॉमन सेंस. Therefore, major part of our life are evident, driven by common sense knowledge. समझ आ रहा है? तुम भी कम नहीं हो. कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज. क्लास में बैठे हैं, कुछ भी पूछ सकते हैं. कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज. कोई यंग टीचर आके पहुंचेगा, क्वेश्चन पे क्वेश्चन, क्वेश्चन पे क्वेश्चन. उफ, ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछेगा, ही विल बी डेवलपिंग सेल्फ डाउट. टेकिंग फॉर ग्रांटेड, आई हैव गॉट अ राइट कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज, आई कैन आस्क एनीथिंग. इधर पूछोगे तो थप्पड़ मिलेगा. Understanding or not? So therefore, life is greatly driven by what? Most of the things we take it as evident. So therefore, common sense is doxa, and you cannot take common sense away from the life of the people and life of the society. So society ka life mein many things are evident. People will follow my order, state things. Police can maintain discipline, state things. Citizens will be exercising their franchise right, state things, evident. So therefore, common sense is doxa. It is present mostly in the life of individual and the life of the state or society. Therefore, common sense cannot be eliminated from individual life and social life. If common sense is present everywhere, can you do any sociology without common sense? No. Last part I am discussing, be very careful about it. Common sense in relation to individual अब तक हमने क्या बताया? कॉमन सेंस इज ए प्रोडक्ट ऑफ कल्चर. Therefore, researchers should be primarily interpreting people's culture to know the bearings of common sense on their life. तो कॉमन सेंस जो शेयर्ड एक्सपीरियंस, अभी इसका बात किया. अभी बात करते हैं कॉमन सेंस इन द लाइफ ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स. कल्चर पल्चर कुछ नहीं है, कम्युनिटी नहीं है. सो हाउ कॉमन सेंस इन्फ्लुएंस टू योर एवरीडे बिहेवियर. गरिमा बोलेगी अभी. गरिमा बताओ. You develop relationship with somebody driven by law, driven by rationality, driven by logic, driven by cultural prescription. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Or you develop relationship with somebody driven by your common sense. बोलो. Your culture, law बाद में आते हैं. Suppose you are coming to college, somebody telling, "Hi Garima, how are you?" So you are using your common sense. कैसे दिखता है वो? ठीक ठाक दिखता है? कवच कुंडल पहन के आया है, आंख लाल लाल है कि आंख शांत है? अच्छा लगता है, ठीक ठाक डिसेंट लगता है. हाय, हाउ आर यू, डू यू नो मी? कॉमन सेंस. If somebody is primarily coming from the other side, he has not taken bath for 5 days, बाल सरे से चौखड़ा हुआ है, आंख लाल दिख रहा है, अंडरस्टैंड, 60 में 2-3 बॉटम फटा हुआ है, नहीं है, ऐसे करे होता है, क्या बोलोगे? बाय. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? सो हियर यू आर यूजिंग योर कॉमन सेंस. यू नीड योर सेफ्टी, यू नीड योर सिक्योरिटी. You don't want to be friend to somebody on whom you cannot have trust. Therefore, we primarily use our common sense when we are interconnected to others. बताओ मेरे को, ये जो इधर आके पहुंचे हो, ड्रिवन बाय कॉमन सेंस और ड्रिवन बाय रैशनैलिटी? बोलो, सच बता. ये जो वाजीराम में एडमिशन लिए हो, ड्रिवन बाय कॉमन सेंस और ड्रिवन बाय रैशनैलिटी? अरे बेवकूफों, ध्यान से सुनो. After sitting with me and listening to me, you know what I teach and what I don't teach. Before joining the class, when you are primarily, before joining the class, you must have heard about me, heard about the class. You never had first-hand experience. Therefore, your presence is driven by common sense. Your experience is based upon what? A reality, a rationality, logicality. So when you are sitting in front of me, then you see actually what I'm telling. बट जब मेरे को देखा ही नहीं था, बात भी नहीं की, वो जानते नहीं हो, तो आगे बैठ गया इधर. बेस्ड अपॉन व्हाट? कॉमन सेंस. शादी भी ऐसे होगा, कॉमन सेंस का बेसिस पे. समझ में आ रहा है दर्शना? सोचोगे लड़का को मैं जानता हूं, अच्छा हो सकता है, मेरा ध्यान रख सकता है, शादी का बाद जो होगा रियल. Therefore, life is largely driven by common sense. सोच के, इमेजिन करके, स्पेकुलेट करके, we consider this boy is good. Why our marriage is failing? Because our knowledge about the other is based upon common sense. अच्छा बात करता है, अच्छा फैमिली का है, अच्छा एजुकेटेड है, अच्छा नौकरी करता है, बॉय शुड बी गुड. पेरेंट्स तो इतना ही देखते हैं. एंड मोस्ट ऑफ इट इज ड्रिवन बाय कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज. I can check the certificate of the boy, but I cannot primarily see what is there in his mind. So therefore, everything in life is based upon what? Common sense. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So driven by common sense, you make a friend. Again, somebody tells, तुम्हारा दोस्त है? Is your friend? He was speaking against you. Again, driven by common sense. Without verification of the fact, you develop doubt, make big face, maintain distance, stop attending his telephone call, delete his name from your primarily Facebook. Friends become enemy. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? सारे किए हो. Again driven by common sense. ठीक है? Despite you blocking him, he is meeting you someday, wishing you good, then you are changing your opinion about that person. Therefore, friendship is made, friend is questioned, friendship is demolished, new friendship develops. That is life. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, everything that we do is based upon what? Common sense. Understanding or not? Therefore, a group of people are present, जिनको हम बोलते हैं माइक्रो सोशियोलॉजिस्ट, इंटरैक्शनल थ्योरिस्ट. ये बोलते हैं एवरी इंडिविजुअल इंटरैक्ट्स विथ अदर्स. कल पढ़ाया था, तुमको याद है? ईच टू ईच ए लुकिंग ग्लास. यू ऑल आर प्राइमरी, योर फेसेस आर व्हाट टू मी. कल पढ़ा था सीएच कुली, साइकोलॉजी जब पढ़ा था. योर फेस इज ए मिरर टू मी. देखो क्या हो रहा है. गुंजन इज स्माइलिंग नाउ एंड हर फेस इज माई मिरर. So I am reading myself on her face that I am teaching good. But that smile may be a satirical smile. Smile of criticism. अरे मास्टर क्या पढ़ाता है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है. So what is in her mind, I don't know. Using my common sense, I am feeling happy because she's appreciating it. And I am speaking, with more vigor, with more primarily, intense, I am discussing. एंड लास्ट को मैं कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज लेके जाता हूं. अरे नहीं 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 नहीं, सो मेनी पीपल आर स्माइलिंग, सो देयरफॉर आई मस्ट बी डूइंग सम गुड जॉब. देयरफॉर माय नॉलेज अबाउट मी इज बेस्ड अपॉन माय कॉमन सेंस. गुंजन को देखा, सुजन को देखा, आस्था को देखा, सबको देख के मैं खुश हो रहा. अरे मैं तो तीर मार के आ गया. लेकिन सारे हंस रहे इसलिए कि कब एक क्लास खत्म करेगा, हम जाएंगे, खाना खाएंगे, लेट हो रहा है. अंडरस्टैंडिंग नॉट? So this is what is common sense. Driven by common sense, you question a friend. Driven by common sense, you evaluate a person. Driven by common sense, you will write your own life script. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, common sense is the essence of our life. If you take it away, then sociological research will be primarily lifeless. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, respect to common sense. Common sense is the essence of sociology. It cannot be sociological nonsense. आया सेंटेंस समझ में? Common sense is the essence of sociology. Every interaction is driven by common sense. Through that interaction, family develops, friendship develops, teacher-student relationship develops. Everything is based upon common sense. Understand or not? Therefore, if you take common sense away, you take essence from out of sociological research. Therefore, common sense is not sociological nonsense. It is the essence of sociology. आया समझ में? इतना लिख दो कि आंसर में आग ना लग जाए. लेकिन बात है कितना लिखते हो, वो बात है. सो यू सोशियोलॉजी में क्वेश्चन आएगा 150 वर्ड का. एग्जामिन द इंटरफेस बिटवीन कॉमन सेंस एंड सोशियोलॉजी. ठीक है? इसको कहां कहां जोड़ सकते हो देखो. यू गो फॉर फेसबुक. मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस बोलता हूं. I never got exposure to social media for the reason there are so many students. So if you are into social media, so you have to stay connected to them. And I don't have that much of time to stay connected to all my students. Though I love them, I care for them. Since I cannot do justice to all my students, therefore it's better to stay away from media, social media. When COVID broke out, honestly speaking, for past few months, I primarily was confined. I was enjoying that. अभी कोई डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं है, कोई क्लास नहीं लेना है, आराम से खा पी के सो जाओ, टीवी देखो. You are the master of your own destiny. After 2 months, I started missing out my students. Because what happens in the last class, I give my telephone number to everybody so that they are in touch. And because of Corona, we finished the batch 15 days ahead. So last class could not happen. And they want to be in touch with me. I am not available because my telephone number is not there. So then I opened up a Facebook account. First day, 1,500 people. फिर इतना बढ़ गया, इतना अपने 2-3 महीना में इतना बढ़ गया. But at least I got a chance to talk to my students. अन्य कोई मिला 20-25 साल पहले इसको पढ़ाया था, सर मैंने इधर पढ़ा था. So now I am this and this. Oof. The kind of feeling you get. So I went to social media using common sense. And from out of that common sense, the linkage I lost with my old students, that linkage was revived. Unintended consequence of what I did applying my common sense. Unintended result. I simply applied my common sense and went for it. I didn't know how to handle it. My daughter did it for me. So without knowing it, how to go for that, social media, I jumped into it using my common sense. But the consequence that gave, it's so primarily nice. It's so primarily fulfilling. इसको कल पढ़ाया था, नाम क्या होगा? सेल्फ फुलफिलिंग प्रोफेसी. अच्छा काम किया. So life is a story of common sense. So therefore, people's common sense are important. Individual common sense is important. Without respecting to that, we cannot study individual. We cannot study people in a cultural context. Therefore, एक चीज बताता हूं. Life of human beings is not similar to life of matter. Matter is object. It is lifeless. You can apply scientific theory, scientific method to study matter. But human beings are lively. They carry a mind. And mind develops different kinds of thought. Therefore, certain things you do driven by your common sense, other things you do driven by your scientific rational logic. So therefore, paying equal respect to both. If I study human beings, I can make a better sociology. So therefore, sociology should not be opting for mechanical scientific method. Sociology should not be rejecting to the role of common sense in sociological research. So we should be giving importance to rational behavior of man, emotional behavior of man, common sense driving to his everyday life. Respecting to all of that, we can make a better sociology. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? This is common sense and sociology. Chapter is over. Now listen. There will be a portal for you in which you will be uploading your questions. And your questions will be evaluated, answer will be evaluated, comments will be given. Understand not? So this exercise will be doing regularly. After we complete one particular chapter, one question will be given to you. So it's not just important how nicely you are understanding, because you will not be given marks on the basis of your understanding. You should be given marks by the examiner on the basis of what you write. Therefore, I am giving you a lot of information. You are understanding it well, but how are you writing? That is important. Therefore, at the end of every chapter, I will be giving you a difficult question. You should be applying your head and right answer to that question. And once it is evaluated, I'll look into your scores. Then again, that question I'll be discussing in the class. Okay? So question for the day. You want question on which topic? Origin of sociology, relationship with other disciplines, or common sense? Question किसके ऊपर चाहिए बताओ? You will be having arrangements. Portal will be having a space where you can upload your answers. And don't upload typed answers, because there you have to write. So start practicing, and write it, primarily go for handwriting practice now. So use your own handwriting when you are uploading the questions, uploading the answers. Common sense नहीं दूंगा, अभी पढ़ के जाएगा. Origin के ऊपर देता हूँ क्वेश्चन. दोनों को मिला के दूंगा. Origin and relationship with other disciplines. Sociology originated as a discipline. Under the influence of history and philosophy, to evolve into a branch of knowledge that could arrest economic and political transformation of the world. ठीक है? Sociology originated as a discipline under the influence of history and philosophy to evolve into a branch of knowledge that could arrest economic and political transformation of the world. कितना इजी क्वेश्चन है? ठीक है? सोच समझ के आंसर लिखोगे विद इन 400 वर्ड्स. ठीक है? 400 450 तक हो सकता है, तो इसको लिखोगे. डन? ठीक है? And I don't want you to copy down from the notebook. ठीक है? 10 days तक तुम अपलोड कर सकते हो. And they will be giving you portal by tomorrow. So कल से लेके कल क्या डेट हो गया? 4th हो गया ना, 5th हो गया. 15 तक वो रहेगा पोर्टल में. So by 15th you can submit. And sooner you submit, you will be primarily getting your evaluated answer scripts earlier. ठीक है? So 15 days तक रहेगा. Overview कुछ नहीं दूंगा मैं. I will not be giving you any structured view about the answer. हाँ, कल क्लास है. So, you know, when you are writing an answer, always make an attempt to bring a contemporary interface in your answer. ठीक है? You know, when I wrote this part, sociology is primarily evolving a branch of knowledge that is arresting to economic and political transformation of the world. इसमें बहुत सारे चीज, इनोवेटिव चीज you can write. And that is going to determine your score. And if you give contemporary interface to your answer, trust me, you will be getting rank within first few. Handwriting should be good, understanding should be clear, no over exaggeration, understanding not, and contemporary interface. ये जो फर्स्ट बैच में पढ़ा रहा हूं, I saw few answers. The way students are writing, I can easily see there are many toppers in that particular batch. And in your batch also, I find out very many students who are quite sharp. You are enjoying, you are understanding, you are comprehending. Just writing practice, once it is done, you'll be through. And after 4 months is over, you'll be feeling so confident that optional preparation will be done here. Just before the exam, read your notes and primarily go for the exam. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा. ठीक है? Just be attentive in the class. ये जो notes puts बता रहे हैं, मैं बता रहा हूं तुमको. More you study from different source, more you will be finding it difficult to comprehend. Therefore, what I am doing in every class, you know, I am primarily bringing informations from different sources. So many authentic books are read. When I make a statement, I primarily read a book. जो डॉक्सा तुमको बताया, बोर्डियो का एक पूरा किताब है. कॉमन सेंस एंड कॉन्टेम्पररी लॉजिक इन सोशियोलॉजी. इनमें से तुमको 2 लाइन दिया. एक ऑथोरिटेरियन पर्सनालिटी करके किताब लिखा है, आई डोंट नो. देयर ही इज कोटिंग ग्रामसी, एंड ग्रामसी सेइंग हाउ कॉमन सेंस इज प्राइमरली व्हाट? फिलोसॉफी ऑफ नॉन फिलोसोफर्स. उधर से उठाया। एक लेक्चर इज कैरिंग इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम नॉट लेस देन 15 to 20 बुक्स. I am not expecting you to primarily read all these books. If you remember the content, 150 word में तुमको लिखना है common sense. And whatever I have given you, if you see your notes, it will be 5-6 pages. इसमें जिस्ट निकल के contemporary example देके you write. You can start your answer like this. On the basis of common sense knowledge, people consider a leader is carrying charisma. He doesn't have any alternatives. Therefore, they primarily vote him back to power. On the basis of primarily common sense, people consider Ganesh Ji's statue can also drink milk. कुछ दिन पहले गणेश जी दूध पीते थे, 5-7 साल पहले. People are pouring milk onto the statue of Lord Ganesh, thinking that Ganesh Ji is primarily drinking milk. Understand not? Char Dham Yatra can wipe out sin is an idea driven by common sense. Therefore, common sense is a product of culture. Upholding that, people regulate their primarily everyday life. Therefore, if sociology wants to study culture in a context, people in a cultural context, they cannot ignore common sense. Therefore, whoever considers, interpret culture to understand the behavior of the people, and that is celebration of sociology. खत्म. एक एग्जाम्पल लेके डिफाइन करो. Driven by common sense knowledge, you are a girl, right about you. Driven by common sense knowledge, one identifies whether a person is worthy enough to establish friendship with or not. Or a girl coming from school to the college is driven by common sense knowledge, having apprehension at the same time hope and aspiration. You get admission into the best of the best universities, IIT, driven by what? Common sense. So therefore, you can say how common sense is having impact on everyday life. So driven by common sense, you understand whether your friend is trusted or not. Your common sense opinion changes, therefore your friendship is being questioned. Then common sense changes, again you are making him as primarily your true friend. Therefore friendship is made, dismantled, remade continuously. Your opinion about father is made, dismantled, remade regularly, driven by your changing nature of common sense. And इसको लिखो, mind from where common sense comes is the same mind from where rational explanation of truth comes. करके लिखो, कितना बढ़िया आंसर बनेगा. समझ में आ रहा है? चलो, क्वेश्चन पूछना है किसको? ना थोड़ा सा कुछ पढ़ा दूं. थैंक यू आयुषी. अच्छा सुनो, काल प्रोफेसर चैटर्जी विल टेक योर क्लास. He will be teaching you chapter 3. Chapter 3 is sampling, questionnaire, schedule, जो सारे notes पोर्ट्स जो बनाना है, तो उनमें से वो आके पढ़ाएंगे. हर संडे को he will be taking the class on the research methods. I'll be starting with you science and scientific method. Thank you. और क्या बता रहा था? हाँ, ईमेल आईडी. अरे पेन इधर ही है. You write SUBAS dot MOPT @gmail.com. ठीक है. कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होगा, यू कैन प्राइमरली पुट योर क्वेश्चंस इन दैट पोर्टल में मैं आंसर बोल ही देता हूं. ठीक है. इफ यू हैव एनी अदर प्रॉब्लम दैन एकेडमिक प्रॉब्लम, यू कैन ऑल्सो टॉक टू मी एंड राइट टू मी ऑन दिस ईमेल एड्रेस. लास्ट क्लास को तुमको टेलीफोन नंबर दूंगा, अभी दोगे तो मेरा नींद खराब कर दोगे. ठीक है. चलो भाई, तो लगा ना क्या कोई पूछेगा क्वेश्चन क्या पूछेगा? और थोड़ा सा पढ़ा दूं क्या? चैप्टर शुरू कर देंगे, नया चैप्टर. हाँ, एम्पेरियलिज्म कॉलोनियलिज्म मैं पढ़ाऊंगा। हिस्ट्री वाला क्या करेंगे? बोलो। अरे पूछ लो जो बोलना है। इनका शक्ल देखा था, हाथ ऊपर करो, किसको पूछना है, क्या पूछना है? ये मेरे को दिखता नहीं है, क्यों नहीं समझ रहे हो? क्वेश्चन पे क्वेश्चन चढ़ाते जा रहे हो, लिखते जा रहे हो। चश्मा नहीं है मेरे पास आज। हाथ ऊपर करो, बताओ। निशा पूछो।
Yes, sir. Sir, the material that you have uploaded, sir, the language is quite complicated, sir. So, are we supposed to write that kind of language in
नो
paper?
वे, नो वे, सी, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम
Because that,
टेलिंग यू। सुनो, your materials are written by a professor. All people, those will be meeting you, they all are university professors. One very senior professor has written the materials. That's why I'm repeating once again. You please refer to class notes because you do not know what kind of effort I'm putting you to make difficult things so simpler to you.
yes,
You can be using these materials to supplement or ice your class notes. For the icing of your class notes, you can be using that. Use the language I am using in the class. Simple, illustrative language. Don't go for sociological jargons.
yes, sir.
Any
That's
book
why,
you
like,
read, any book you read, George Rizor you read, same kind of language. So therefore, notes, everything we get from Waziram will be quality. Therefore, professors are being put into job, they'll be writing notes. If you can primarily use them well and good, otherwise some additional informations may be there. ठीक है?
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
बताओ। हाँ, बताओ स्नेहा।
So,
हाँ,
am I audible?
yes, yes.
So, providing these lived experiences and examples of lived.
सूरज सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है। थोड़ा वॉल्यूम कम कर दो। हाँ, बोलो अभी।
So, mentioning the lived experiences, examples in the exam, like in answer sheet, whether it will backfire or it will be fine.
See, right. Examples teacher used to give to the students to make them understand a sociological concept. A teacher will give example to the students. Through this example, you make sense of what I'm discussing. Okay? In the exam, you are writing answer in 150 words. Do you know one thing? In UPSC, you have to do 5 questions. 5 questions you have to do. And 5 questions is primarily 200 marks, 250 marks, 5 questions. And out of 5 questions, 2 questions are compulsory. 2 questions are compulsory. And these 2 compulsory questions are only short notes. 10 short notes in both the questions, and they're compulsory. So means 10 answers you are writing in 150 words. Do this practice. सिर्फ इतना नहीं है. Out of rest 3 questions, questions will be primarily having 3 parts. One question, first part 20 marks, second part 20 marks, third part of the question is 10 mark. So there are also 10 marker, 3 questions you get. Here 10 markers, primarily 10 questions you get. So 130 marks question you are primarily getting, which are of 10 marks. 13 questions, 10 markers you'll be getting. And you'll be getting 6 questions which carry 20 marks each. So 6 into primarily 20, 120, 13 into 10, 130, it comes to 250 marks. So therefore, when you are writing answer in 150 words, is there space for examples? No. So therefore, don't give examples when you are writing short notes. 1, 2 examples you can give, contemporary examples, when you are writing a long answer. Don't give so many examples like I am giving in the class when you are writing answer. Examples to make you understand. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा? हाँ, बताओ. हाँ मुस्कान बताओ.
I am audible, sir.
हाँ हाँ बताओ.
Good evening, sir.
गुड इवनिंग बताओ.
So I want to ask कि whenever while writing our answers, we need to give examples of authors as well. So shall we give the authors of all the name whatever
No,
you
no,
give,
no,
or
no, no, no.
one or
See,
two?
logic is different. Once you know more, even if you are forgetting something, what you write will carry substance to give you good marks. When I'm giving you the name of 5 authors, if you remember one and quote one, that is sufficient. Don't go mad because so many names I have to remember. That is not required. What is expected from you is to understand the argument. Okay? Suppose this common sense. Close your eyes. 3 different schools. Positivism considers sociology as a science. Therefore, we should be going for empirical data. Common sense has no space in sociology. Weber, Malinowski, culture is primarily giving us direction, common sense, and our behavior is defined by that. So shared common sense they speak about. Then you have micro-sociologist, interaction theory. Common sense is my primarily own product of my own mind. कॉमन सेंस बोल रहा है हाँ अभी चलो जाएंगे उधर घूम के आएंगे. कॉमन सेंस का बेसिस पे वी मेक फ्रेंड्स, वी मेक प्राइमरली ब्रेक फ्रेंडशिप, वी प्राइमरली सस्पेक्ट पीपल. सो कॉमन सेंस तीनों चीज दिमाग में रखना. So therefore, in sociology, there is no unanimity of opinion among the people whether common sense is different from sociology or not. So some say common sense is useful, other tells common sense is primarily based upon assumption. We should be replacing that, developing sociology, a scientific argument in sociology. इतना एक दे हो गया. Therefore, don't overquote the sociologist. I am giving you 5 because you will be forgetting 3 and remember 2. So don't primarily chase the names. ठीक है?
And so one more thing, shall we give the examples of our life, our everyday life? Can we give the examples?
एक एग्जाम्पल तुमको देना सुनो. There was a student with me 2-3 years back, and I gave him a question to write answer on. That was Marx on capitalist mode of production. And first sentence of his answer was that a dog is biting a piece of bone. Dog is biting a piece of bone, and blood is oozing from out of his mouth. The dog is cherishing it, realizing little that it is his own blood.
Yes.
Similarly, in case of capitalism, the benefits that workers get is nothing but the product of their labor. Little do they realize that major part of their labor is exploited by the capitalist, and he is stealing their wealth.
Means we can give the example by relating to the social.
Like a primarily dog is biting bone, but he is biting his primarily what? Tongue. Blood is oozing out of it. His own blood he is primarily drinking and feeling happy. Similarly, in capitalism, a worker is working for 8 hours. 2 hours of his work he is getting wage. Wage is approximate to 2 hours of work. Rest 6 hours of his work is generating private wealth. That is appropriated by capitalist. बट जब इसका एक इंक्रीमेंट हो जाता है 50 रुपया का, ही इज डांसिंग एंजॉय, घर में खुश होता है. यही है. ठीक है. एंड दैट बॉय गॉट इन
we write answer in a paragraph or in points.
paragraph. वो पॉइंट डायग्राम फाइग्राम अभी मत करना. ठीक है. सोशियोलॉजी इज एक्सप्लेनेटरी, राइट इन पैराग्राफ. आज एंड व्हेन यू फाइंड आउट देयर इज अ नीड टू शॉर्ट नोट्स, तो डोंट राइट इन पॉइंट्स. शॉर्ट नोट्स राइट इन 2 पैराग्राफ्स. 150 वर्ड्स मींस मैक्सिमम 12-13 सेंटेंस होगा. ठीक है.
थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू. बताओ अभिजीत. अभिषेक बताओ.
Sir, just now we discussed about common relationship between common sense and sociology, no, sir. I mean, we described common sense as a common belief of people, most probably. Then can we relate common sense and psychology, sir?
Yes. Why not? That third approach I told you what? Common sense is a product of individual psychology. समझ में ना? Second approach is talking about common sense as a product of culture. Third approach talks about the fact common sense is the product of individual psychology. ठीक है? So positivists tell no common sense. Whoever tells common sense is a product of culture, it is shared by the people. And third group of people say common sense is a product of your mood, your psychology, your own personal experience. ठीक है? श्वेता. हाँ.
Good evening, sir.
हाँ श्वेता बता.
So I got the answer you gave to Abhishek.
हाँ. Good.
Like it was kind of same question to me. I got
Yes.
the answer.
Okay, good. बता. बोलो स्वाति.
You
बोलो.
said that 22 lines are required for the 150 words answers. So should we have to put on the word limit as 150 words on the page that are given in the question?
सुनो अभी now you don't strictly follow word limit. For first 1-2 answers, you don't follow strictly word limit. You can exceed word limit by 50 words. Because now since you are developing the habit of writing, you cannot constrain yourself into the word limit and do justice to the question. Abhi we exceed word limit by 50 words, but slowly you try to write answer within the word limit. Second question, third question, you stick to word limit. Because word limit will be bringing discipline in your answer. ठीक है?
Thank you.
बताओ प्रिया. बोलो.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam. Good evening.
So in the class on Monday, you had given a question, that is, how is sociology different from other disciplines? Explain that in relation to the potential character of sociology. So, sir, in that question, we have to give the generalist and formalist school of thought, or the
कोई स्कूल फुल नहीं चाहिए. कोई स्कूल नहीं है. How is sociology related to other discipline? Is the question.
Yes, sir.
And in relation to that, second part क्या है? What is the second part?
Explain that in relation to the potential character of sociology.
Sociology. If I am primarily told to write this answer, I'll be writing that sociology is not an academic untouchable. First sentence I'll be writing, sociology is not an academic untouchable. It borrows ideas from other disciplines and reciprocate to them. Therefore, political sociology, historical sociology, economic sociology, developmental sociology, sociology of environment is borrowing ideas from other disciplines and also primarily giving inputs to them in different ways. Therefore, a relationship between sociology and other disciplines is primarily strong, cohesive and continuous. एक लाइन लिख लो. ठीक है? Globalization. ठीक है? Developmental planning are the two key areas where economics and sociology are meeting each other. Movement, civil society, role of state are the core areas where political science is meeting sociology. Environment and people's take over it is something where geography and sociology are meeting each other. कोई लिखने का जरूरत नहीं, स्कोप ऑफ कुछ लिखने का जरूरत नहीं है. Take the issues and say that how sociology is close to other disciplines. However, sociological method, sociological approach, sociological conclusion on the economic, political, environmental, demographic, other issues are different, for which sociology is maintaining its distinctiveness. ठीक है? Then in first second part you write. That's the word में लिखोगे. Second part you write. When sociology was originated, there was a proclamation of encyclopedic approach to sociology. But when sociology grew and matured, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? When sociology grew and matured, it addressed to these issues from a distinctive perspective in comparison to other disciplines. So therefore, in contemporary sociology, we are addressing issues which are the matter of great importance to psychology. Like criminal behavior, deviant behavior. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So alcoholism. So sociology also studies it. Sociology is studying organizational behavior, getting into the domain of management. Sociology of sports, sociology of internet age, sociology of protest and movement, sociology of military organizations are becoming the new facets and new frontiers of sociology. Understanding not? So therefore, in contemporary times, sociology has gone for theoretical expansion of its subject matter. Multiple methodologies are used in the field of sociology today. So you are using primarily what? Photography, storytelling. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Visit to historical sites. We are going for interpretation. We are going for psychic analysis. We are going for scientific method for sociological research. Therefore, in last 150 years, sociology has grown from nowhere to maturity with expansion of boundary in terms of its approach, methods, theories, and applications. खत्म. कहाँ से कहाँ तक लिखे?
So sir, the potential character here means the dynamic character of sociology.
Yes, potential character. हम क्या कर सकते हैं? Previously एक मेथड था, अभी मल्टीपल मेथड्स है. पहले हम स्टडी करते हैं स्ट्रक्चर एंड चेंज प्रोसेस. आजकल क्या स्टडी नहीं करते हैं? इंटरनेट एज स्टडी कर रहे हैं, सोशियोलॉजी ऑफ प्राइमरी कलेक्टिव मोबिलाइजेशन कर रहे हैं, एनवायरमेंट स्टडी कर रहे हैं, सोशियोलॉजी ऑफ क्राइम स्टडी कर रहे हैं, सोशियोलॉजी ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स स्टडी कर रहे हैं. क्या क्या कर रहे हैं सारे? ये आंसर को यू अटेंड आफ्टर आई कंप्लीट प्राइमरी माय थिंकर्स पार्ट. ठीक है? हाँ,
थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू. बताओ मानसी. बोलो बोलो बोलो.
Good evening, sir.
हाँ बता.
So when we study the relationship between sociology and economics, we study a concept of consumption. So, sir, can we say that in a society, people consume on the basis of social trend or to fit in the society, like brands?
Yes, very true, very true, very true. अभी तुम जो ब्रांडेड क्लोथ्स पहनते हो, कॉस्मेटिक्स यूज करते हो, these all are consumptions. So consumption driven by what? Social trends. आज का डेट में जो फैशन है, इसी के अनुसार वो कंजम्पशन बिहेवियर इज डिफाइंड. तो फैशन का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, दैट इज बीइंग प्राइमरली एडवर्टाइज्ड एंड योर कंजम्पशन इज बेस्ड अपॉन दैट. तो कंजम्पशन इज बेस्ड अपॉन कल्चर, कंजम्पशन इज बेस्ड अपॉन ऑनगोइंग ट्रेंड. सोशियोलॉजी लुक्स इनटू इट.
Thank you, sir.
हाँ, थैंक यू. और कोई है? हो गया? और किसको कुछ पूछना है? हो गया? अरे लड़के लोग इतना शर्माते क्यों हो? हैं? कोई लड़का आगे नहीं आ रहा है? इतना लड़कियां पूछ लिए तुम सर क्या करते हो? हाथ अभी कर रहा है, लोग हाथ ऊपर कर रहा है, अभी डर डर के हाथ ऊपर कर रहा है. हाँ बताओ मुना. बताओ.
Sir, I want to ask, like, in which way social anthropology and sociology are different? Like, these are quite similar.
They are not different. They are not different. Sociology and social anthropology are different. If you ask me about difference,
yeah,
mechanical difference मैं बताऊंगा. Anthropology, social anthropology studies tribal societies. Sociology studies modern society. ठीक है? Social anthropology goes for participant observation. Sociology mostly goes for quantitative analysis. ठीक है? Sociology is tracing its origin from philosophy and history. Social anthropology is tracing its origin from sociology. हमारा बच्चा है सोशियल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, लेकिन हम तो हिस्ट्री फिलोसफी से बोरो किया है, तो इसीलिए वी आर डिफरेंट. If you further look into difference, they study community, we study larger society. Suppose I can study urbanization in India, urban problems in India. I can study globalization and its impact on India. They will be studying Andaman Island, Andamaners. They will be studying Zulu society. तो इनका ये है, ठीक है. But in India, you don't find out much of difference between sociology and social anthropology. Reason being, the original founders of primarily sociology were trained by social anthropologists. Therefore, Indian sociology is very close to social anthropology. But in America, तुमको एक चीज पता है, social anthropology क्यों डेवलप हुआ? When British colonialism was established in case of Africa, colonial rulers found out the tribes are not accepting to their command. ये जो इसका बारे में बता रहा था, न्यूर ट्राइब, half the population of Newer died fighting against colonial rulers. Therefore, these rulers were surprised. Why these tribes are not reluctant to primarily, die? They are not reluctant to die. What is there in their culture? Therefore, to know their culture, they called the anthropologist of Oxford and Cambridge. And A.R. Radcliffe Brown, along with his students, came to Africa to study these tribes. And on the basis of their observation, they wrote a book, African Political System. So where they said, Newer don't have a centralized government. Newer society में कोई centralized government नहीं होता है. They all primarily rule over themselves. They all are rulers. So when you are introducing centralized rule in a society, and culturally they are not used to it, they react and they rebel. And that is why they are fighting war against colonial rulers. Understanding or not? That is how anthropology started. And they study small communities, sociology study larger society and its problems. ठीक है?
Thank you. Thank you.
हाँ भाई बताओ. हाँ बोलो बताओ.
Good evening, sir.
हाँ बताओ. हाँ.
Sir, why did enlightenment happen only in Europe? Like, what was the difference in the mindset?
I won't be saying enlightenment happened only in case of Europe. I would be rather rephrasing it. European enlightenment was greatly questioning to monarchical system there, church, understand not? So इसको criticize करके European monarchy looked for a better society. ठीक है? Indian enlightenment likewise wanted to eliminate the unwanted practices present in India, like child marriage, sati, caste system, dictatorship. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So our enlightenment leaders wanted reform in our country. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Ram Manohar Roy, Keshav Chandra Sen. So all these people were primarily who? Our enlightenment leaders. Understanding that? Further, if you look into enlightenment leaders, Mahatma Gandhi, look into ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरे नाम सबको सम्मति दे भगवान, pluralism. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, equality. So therefore, our enlightenment wanted to reform our society. Their enlightenment wanted to reform their society. But structural condition of our society being different from their society, our enlightenment was different from their enlightenment.
Sir, I have one more question, sir.
बताओ.
Democracy is a type of government, but can we say it's also a type of ideology? Is it a correct statement?
Democracy is an ideology. तुम्हारा पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में कॉन्सेप्ट है आइडियोलॉजी, पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम चैप्टर में है. विदाउट आइडियोलॉजी यू कैनॉट हैव ए गवर्नमेंट. सो विदाउट इंटरनलाइजिंग आइडियोलॉजी ऑफ इक्वालिटी यू कैनॉट गो फॉर डेमोक्रेसी. इसलिए इफ आई डिलीवर दैट लेक्चर, आई डोंट नो वेदर आई विल बी डिलीवरिंग दैट लेक्चर और नॉट. सो इंडिया का प्रॉब्लम ये है, we got a democracy without democratization of our thought. Democracy was given to you by our nationalist leaders. Our thought is not democratic. Therefore, in family there is hierarchy. बाप का authority को मानना है. So in family equality is not there. School class equality is not there. How can in a nation equality be practiced? You go to American society. Family is a platform of equality. कोई किसको छोटू नहीं बोलता है. So young children can primarily put their voice forward. But India में family is hierarchical. Neighborhood is hierarchical. School is hierarchical. Everywhere hierarchy is present. But we say we are making a democratic society. तो इसलिए मैं बात करता हूं. India became a democracy without democratization of Indian mind. India becomes secular without the secularization of Indian society. तो इसलिए इसे क्राइसिस ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी.
थैंक यू.
हाँ बताओ. हाँ बोलो बोलो प्रज्ञा बोलो. प्रज्ञा बताओ.
Hello sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello, good evening sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my question is related to industrial revolution. Sir, you gave a statement that increasing production led to increasing population. So I am not able to relate it. So can you please elaborate?
See, increase ulta likhe ho. Increase in population demanded increase in production. Okay. Because once there is an increase in population, you have more mouth to feed.
Okay, sir. Now I got it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Done? Santi? Yeah, छुट्टी. आज सकल देखा. हाँ बताओ बताओ बताओ. हाँ प्रिया. हाँ प्रिया बताओ.
Sir, I had another doubt.
हाँ.
Sir, in historical sociology given by Karl Mannheim, he says that we have to develop historical types, like typologies have to be developed. But then in the formalist school, George Gimmel again says that we have to develop concepts and ideas. So aren't these two things related? Historical type.
Concept. He says concept will be developed and he is giving the concept.
So both are saying the same
both
thing.
है.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है. क्या हो गया फिर तुम्हारा कहां से क्वेश्चन आ गया? बताओ. हाँ मुस्कान बताओ.
Sir, you taught us the concept of common shares that is based on the assumption. Sir, in today era, COVID pandemic era, can we take the example of vaccine hesitation as based on assumption, common sense?
Yes. Based upon assumption, Vaccine hesitancy partly is based upon assumptive knowledge, but partly also based upon rational knowledge. Because people find out after taking vaccines are also some people are dying. So many people, those who are primarily scientific, rational, they don't take vaccines. So vaccine hesitancy is not only present among the tribes or the villagers. It is also present among a large body of people who are educated, but they want scientific proof about the efficiency of the vaccine. Understanding? They're also hesitant. ठीक है. बताओ. युवराज, हाँ बताओ.
Sir, I have a question from the comparison between history and sociology. We studied that we should avoid a conjectural history including social analysis. Sir, my question is then, how can we consider a culture which is mainly based on such things like conjectural history or myths?
Conjectural कहाँ होता है बता रहा हूँ तुमको. There's a beautiful analysis by Karl Popper. He tells the entire Marxian theory is conjectural. Pseudo science. अभी science पढ़ाऊंगा ना, इसमें से वो example भी दूंगा. एक चीज मेरे को बताओ. Pandit Nehru was the Prime Minister of India. Fact or not?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Indira Gandhi became Prime Minister of India. Fact or not?
Yes, sir.
Rajiv Gandhi became Prime Minister of India. Fact or not?
Yes, sir.
Suppose if you are giving me these three sentences, it is scientific, it is authenticated.
Yes, sir.
But when you write a sentence that Rajiv Gandhi could become Prime Minister of India because he was the son of his mother, It sounds like historical, but this is conjectural. How? It is not only Rajiv Gandhi is the mother of the child of Indira Gandhi, therefore he primarily became prime minister. Rajiv Gandhi contested in elections.
Yes.
He won the elections. So therefore he was the child of his mother, all right. But if you write, he is having advantage of being the child of his mother, for which people primarily knew him. And for that, he got primarily sympathy vote on the election. Therefore, he became prime minister. That is history. So many times what you read as history, hidden within that history is assumption, presumption, therefore conjecture. Understanding or not?
Yes,
Suppose when you say Akbar was the great ruler, Akbar the great. अरे great क्यों है? You identify specific reasons for which you say great. Ashok the great. But there may be other factors which are not primarily making them so great. So therefore, many times in the pretext of history, a historian is giving his opinion, his views, therefore conjecture. समझ में? हाँ बताओ, ज्योति. Tell me. Not audible, Jyoti. सुनाई नहीं दे रहा.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
When we are writing the introduction in the sociology, then we should write the contemporary things in the introduction part and in the conclusion part.
Hit at the bull's eye. Suppose question comes, is there any significance of common sense in sociology or not? First sentence, common sense is based upon assumption, presumption. Common sense is based upon prejudices. Therefore, there is an agreement in the domain of sociology whether common sense and sociology should be having any relationship with each other or not. Okay? When positivists consider common sense is based upon assumption and sociology should go by fact, therefore they consider sociology and common sense stand apart from each other. ठीक है? So hit at the bullseye. जो क्वेश्चन डिमांड कर रहा है वही लिखो. Contemporary things will become contemporary things will be coming at the end. एक advice तुमको दे रहा हूँ. First part of the answer would be what you know, examiner would be knowing. Second part of the answer would be what you know, examiner may be knowing. Third part of the answer would be what you know, examiner may not be knowing. मैं जब पढ़ा रहा हूं तुमको बहुत सारे contemporary information दे रहा हूं, but there is no guarantee that that contemporary information will be known to the examiner or not. इसको last को लिखो. Contemporary things will be coming at the end. Conventional things will be coming at the first. ठीक है?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. चलो शांति हो गया. खुश? हाँ, ये भाषण नहीं हुआ था पहले. चलो ठीक है. जब कल प्रोफेसर चटर्जी पढ़ाएंगे, नोट्स पोट्स आराम से करना. और बड़ा शांत कूल आदमी है बहुत. ठीक है. तो व्हाट एवर डाउट्स यू हैव जस्ट आस्क हिम, तो ही विल बी क्लैरिफाइंग इट. ठीक है. चलो, थैंक यू.